Hey, good evening. Welcome to another evening. Cheers. Hey, Marcos, how you doing? Well, ladies and gentlemen, well, welcome and good evening to another evening of Talking Sick. And welcome, Mark, Donovan, how you doing? And I'm doing something different. I'm also touching base on YouTube as well, Facebook, just to see something, testing the waters. What can I say? Just having a drink. And joining as well. All you got to do is have a drink. And listening to some nice Fatal Cash. Hey, buddy.
What's going on, buddy?
Hey, I'm good, man.
How are you doing?
What can I say? I'm just, it's a long day, but you got to chill now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good.
Weather is dipping. The weather is dipping now, you know?
I know.
We seem like you're hot.
No.
Like
I'm just trying to take the shine off my head.
I'm trying to see if I can get this thing here. Oh, the billionaire. Good. Man, I was doing some what should I say, some serious DIY today, and yeah, let's say if you wipe your camera, take a moment and wipe your camera. If anything, you look smeared like you're in some snowy land. You know, it's a snowy land. Yeah, just really getting the, you know, you got lots of papers over years, and you see all these letters, and you realize that all of these things are online, and you don't know what you're doing with these, you know, and then you have to decide. You still have to put them in confidential waste, and then have to sit down on some days and maybe do a massive shredding, because it's not like in Jamaica where you can just bonfire, you know. You can't just I don't know which country that is. Is that Joe Biden country? I don't know which country. Lester, how are you there, buddy? You're mm, what's that? Silly, where that one come from? I mean, listen, I've had listen, listen. Growing up in high school, I grew up with so many different names. Someone used to say city girl, city wonder, city gal there, city imde. Man, I used to have names galore, man. That's you know. Yes, because of my name. Yeah, because Jamaican we were never used to certain name. Oh, what kind of name that? And you used to wait until the teacher reaching down to S and then going down and heart start to pump, And everybody tune in. Oh, what kind of name that? Ha 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 ha. Yes. Is that so? Mm. Well, I was uh, yes. Mm-hmm. Well, the thing about it is that I I was looking at I was saying to my son today, I found some old papers and I said to him, you need to keep these papers, man. These papers, yeah, but that's years ago. Now you need to keep these reports and keep these things because you're gonna look back and you're gonna like it. You're gonna say, I wish I could find those. And guess what I found today? I found my I found my report card from York Castle High School, 1980. And no, it was piece of paper. Just a normal orange. No, no. Listen. It was so interesting reading it, you know what I mean? And it said, and I said to my son, see the bottom bit? It says, Silver need to work hard at his weak subjects. And then I said to my son, see, it all happened to us. We all went through this whole thing, you know what I mean? Or, and because the whole aspect of it is that you look back and I saw my birth certificate, born in Sport Maria Hospital, because I make sure I always carry some copies of these things, you know what I'm saying? And that, no. let, let me just say hi to Shauna Dillon. Hi, Shauna. How are you there? And hi, Quentin. How are you, Natural Beauty? No, no. Lester, there's no hospital in Ocherius. So therefore, you have to bond somewhere in a hospital. Either Sentence Bay. Well, Sentence Bay, see, but still not Ocherius, even though it's a parish of Senton. Country Bunking, Thank you, Shauna. I've heard some people call some people in Jamaica that. I don't know which part of the country. Because Ocho Rios is considered as a resort, a natural resort, you know. Yes, Port Mary Hospital, you know what I'm saying? You know, but well, well, my dad is underground now, 6 feet under. My mother, I'll have to have a conversation as to what happened that time, you know. Kingston is Jamaica. Well, listen, guys, listen. Um, I wanted to talk today about the whole aspect of COVID and travel, you know, COVID and travel. But before we go any further there, I saw some guy, I saw a video going around today, and you can see these videos, but I had to bring this one up. This lady sat down and said, John, you're my great friend, John. And she walked over to him, John, and she kneeled down before the guy and said to him, will you marry me? And the guy got up, held on to another girl, and walked out. And the father came up to him and said, don't do that to my daughter, don't do it to my daughter. What do you guys think about kneeling, ladies kneeling down before men and proposing to them? We'll have to get a lady, we'll have to get a lady on at some point, you know. But so, sorry, what are you drinking? What are you drinking? What are you guys drinking? What do you guys drink? Sorry. Yes. 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 Yeah. Mm. What? Yeah. What was that? Lester drinking? What? What are you drinking? What's that? Okay. Bottle of. Yeah. I'm having some. I'm having some Malbec thing. Argentina. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Cheers. And I'm drinking some water as well, some sparkling water, San Miguel, you know. Uh, Soursop juice that I made today. Natural Beauty is having soursop. Yeah. I'm a red wine fanatic, so she's a fanatic. So yes. So we're a fanatic. Yeah. Uh, SS joined Vita. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the question. Oh, okay. We're going to touch on travel, but I just bring in something. Sorry, travel and COVID. You know, the impact of travel and COVID, and you know, the tourist business, and also all the shit go to Jamaica, and why some things are going on, sometimes like things that lock down. But I just wanted to hardly ever drink white. Okay, I just wanted to. I saw a video today, and the video was this girl sitting around this table, and she said to this guy, John, you're my greatest, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I want to do something special with you. And she walked over to him, knelt down before him, and she said, will you marry me? And he just got up and he just walked away with another woman who was sitting at the table. And the father said, don't do that to my daughter. Don't do that to my daughter. So my question is this. How do you guys feel? How do people feel? Or do you think it's traditional? Or do you think it's a woke thing whereby women are now proposing to men? Doesn't that sort of is a slap in the face in a way? Why would you have a woman kneeling for a man for him to marry her? Mm. Somebody on YouTube said that's just madness. Just to let you know, guys, there's a YouTube factor there, and If you guys want to come onto YouTube, I can get up to 10 persons on YouTube. I'm just messing around. Yes, you can actually. But go on, guys. Yeah. Women are always proposing to men. Yes. Mm. Mm. Never hear that before, but not sometimes it's new to hear things, you know. Yes. Mm.
Gen Z and millennials that don't have that cultural orthodoxy that we grew up with. So we'll see. But I wouldn't criticize a woman. I think that's fine.
Well, Natural Beauty said, not me. Donovan Blunkett, some men are shy and weak. I
don't think it's a weakness thing. I don't think it has anything to do with weakness. Some men, Lester was saying, you live with someone, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and you don't do anything, and finally you're gonna have pressure from families and hold on, what's going on here? And then the woman is gonna initiate and say, hey, what's going on? Yeah. So to the point that Lester was making, a lot of the women will initiate the conversation to put that in the psyche of the man to say, hey, we've been here 7, 8, 9 years, and then the man will, say, hey, okay, I'll go get a ring and propose. So it's new. It's a new way, but I don't think it's necessarily man being weak.
Mm. Well, Shauna Dillon, well, it's interesting. The ladies are the ones who are not seeing it as very a positive thing. Shauna Dillon said, tacky. Natural Beauty said, not me. But
not me, then who?
Well, yeah. Men are hunters. Men are hunters. Let them hunt. That's what Shauna is saying. So Natural Beauty said, I don't need a ring to be in a long-term relationship. Sometimes it works better being in a committed relationship than to be married. I don't need a man to pronounce me man and wife. I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So now our topic of the day.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, and before we go into that, Lester, like in Jamaica now, Jamaica is going through this lockdown thing, and I think the topic was spun off of the boat, the ship, which came to Ocherius while on the day of a lockdown, you know, and lots of people were a bit thinking it was a slap in the face. But can't we say that tourism is still going on? Tourism is still something which is live. Travel people are still traveling. I mean, I know of somebody like every time I hear the person's in Jamaica and the person's back in the UK, people are just traveling still. How do you think COVID has impacted this whole thing?
Um, it has impacted it greatly because of uncertainty.
Let me just finish off. Shauna Dillon said before, I want to be married, but sure as hell won't propose to a man. You know, to each his own. Okay, just finish that bit there. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I have people who are here who work in travel, and so they will. You don't have any long-term planning. So you may plan a trip to go to Jamaica in, like say, you're going to buy a ticket like early so the ticket is cheaper, and Jamaica is a go. And the week before you leave, Jamaica gets on the orange, it's orange or black. You know, you can't go on a vacation again. So it affects the income. It affects the income both ways, you know. So the airline loses, or the cruise line loses, or you lose the destination, the hotels, the taxi, the ground transportation. It's a ripple effect of loss there. With the cruise ship that arrived in Jamaica, remember, these cruise ships come to Jamaica every other Wednesday, right? Or every other Tuesday or thereabout. We have to understand that apart from remittance, tourism is our second largest earner.
Yes.
We have been shut down for almost 18 months.
That's
right?
Jamaica, yeah.
So we have to get revenue in the kitty. Again, tourism is our second largest earner.
Yes.
Right? And the ripple effect of tourism, it comes right down to the small man on the ground.
Yeah.
So what are we saying? People are saying that how we shut down, but you have tourists coming into the country. Most of the people who live in Ocherius or Sentence Bay or Runaway Bay, we're not going to go to Duns River at all. But the tourists, when they come off the ship, they would have gone to Duns River and the other attractions around Mystic Mountain and those places. How many residents of Ocherius and the surrounding areas on that particular day would have visited Duns River Falls? You know, so it's just something for people to just rant about and you know, make to me use this conversation.
So Lester, Jamaica tourism is the number one industry, the largest foreign income for Jamaica, not the second. But I think you're right. But I think there's a larger structural issue, not only for Jamaica, right? Because for you to travel and move around to the point you just made, Lester, the airlines are impacted, right? So if we go back last year when we were at the height of the lockdown, right? Most of our airlines wasn't flying anywhere. Jamaica was total lockdown. So now it's a choice, it's a decision. And when you look 18, 19 months in, the Jamaican government, I think I saw there was a contraction last year of about 30%. So if the Jamaican push and say, let's go ahead and lock everything down, to Lester's point, there's a ripple effect across the board where the farmers who supply the hotels, right, the folks who works in these industry, right, it's a ripple effect because remember, these community, they're sort of a dependency, meaning the shops are not going to be able to sell because folks don't have the money. So I think there are different things. Now, what I do believe that I see as a gap, I do believe the Jamaican government should have been much more forthright with the Jamaican people in the sense that communicating exactly what they're doing to say, look, we have this issue where our hospital capacity is way over. So we have to do something. And this something is we have to then lock down the entire country with the exception of our tourism industry because it's a it's our largest sector. And if we lock that down, that's going to impact, a whole host of folks.
Yes.
So I think there was a lack of communication, and I wish the Jamaican government would have, communicate more, because I do believe last year, and I'm not sure what the change. Andrew was probably on IG, every sort of channel, talking to the people, walking them through exactly what he was doing. So I think there's a huge impact. But there's also a structural issue now that the Jamaican government has to figure out how to diversify the economy, right? Because, we see sort of the issue if you go into sort of an extended lockdown, how it impacts the economy. And you and I were talking to the gentleman where, the issue is that you have folks who are day laborers, right? So you have someone who work, Monday somewhere else, Tuesday somewhere else. He or she might have a partner that they throw, right? So now if they don't work for 3 days, they have no food for 3 days, right? So to me, those are the things that the Jamaican government should have be ready when they're making these extended lockdown, and then communicate with the people much more intently versus treating the kids, treating the people as if they're second-class citizens. And then, when you see things like that happen where the folks who have means are sort of skirting the lockdown, if you will, I think you have this divide where the folks who are the day labor, who are, sort of working hand to mouth, or, paycheck to paycheck, dollar to dollar, they're seeing everything else. And I think those are some of the things that we have to figure out how to communicate better with.
Well, I want to tell you that in the UK, just to show you where we're at, holiday booking surge after travel rules change. And what is happening in the UK? There's no more amber, these traffic lights, just yes or no. Holiday surge have surged because Transport Secretary said that the traffic light system was being replaced with a single red list. Right? Single red list. And what is happening now? There's a surge because people sometimes leave out, travel to this part of the world, and all of a sudden there's a lockdown and they're all completely messed up. And so therefore it is, I believe in a way that things are moving on. I think the world is moving on no matter what. And I think that this is something that we'll have to get used to. I mean, the factor is that there's still the vaccination bit, whereby they say everybody's got to be vaccinated. Like they said, firm said that people know, and fully vaccinated people will no longer need a pre-departure test before returning from non-red list areas. So that's very interesting as well.
I have some issues with what Natural Beauty is saying.
Well,
that poor people are suffering, and some bits of what O'Neill is saying. Listen, whichever poor people is suffering during the pandemic has always been suffering before the pandemic, right? I lived in several inner cities. I live in several parishes in Jamaica. Them always are suffer. The same issues with them are cry say them have was issues them have way before the pandemic, right? Now let's look at the reality of the situation. O'Neill, you said something about a lot of planes, airlines weren't flying. They weren't the same amount of flights, yes, but a lot of people don't know. And you're right about the communication. Now, what a lot of people don't know about pilots or airlines is that pilots have to be constantly flying
to keep their license.
To keep their license. So you had airlines in all over the world. They were carrying potatoes to Madagascar. They were carrying melons to Quebec, just freight. So and they had to convert the space in the planes to carry it. A lot of people don't know that. And so the pilots had to keep on flying to keep their license, or they'll have to do over the whole thing, which is very costly. So people is saying, lock it down. It's not that easy. It has serious financial effect, way beyond just poor people are suffering. because people think that because you may have means more than them, that things don't affect you also, right? I said to one person recently on social media that the big business will have 400 employees during the 3-day lockdown, still have to pay those employees, right? If you're permanent employees and the production, there's no income for those 3 or 4 days that's lockdown. So imagine the business don't open Saturday or Sunday. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? So that big business have to absorb all that cost. So it may lose $30 million while a small business lose $30,000.
Yes.
So when people are saying that the prime minister is not helping, the prime minister is hurting poor people, everybody in Jamaica is affected.
So Lester, I see it a little bit different. So yes, you do have folks in the community who they were under resources before, right? But at least they were able to hustle. These folks are hustler, right? They go do maybe a day work here, they go do a handyman here, right? At least some amount of income is coming in, right? Because they will go out, work, and then go buy half of a bread, a loaf of bread, a stick of butter, and they go back out, right? So now when you have a total lockdown, that 3 days, that person can't go out and hustle at all, whether it's selling bag juice, whether it's selling cane, whatever the case may be. So we have to, as a society, have to take care of those people. We have to figure out how to help them. Now, yes, there are people who have means who, yes, they're able to go to the supermarket and buy a week or 2 weeks worth of grocery, right? That's the difference there. The folks who are in the under-resourced community, they can't go stockpile. Because I'll tell you, during the lockdown, I went to farms and bought 6 months worth of meat, right? So I have that. But there's a lot of people in these under-resourced community cannot do that. So yes, the impact is felt differently. But I would say the folks uptown, they could go to the supermarket and buy themselves 2 or 3 works of food, and they're good, right? So I think the point that I am trying to make is, I do believe there needs to be a better communication, and this is where, and Silber, I don't know if you want us to talk about some of the things that we're planning to do down there, because I do believe there are people that are hurting, regardless of their station before the lockdown.
Let's bring in what Natural Beauty say. You put your citizens on these lockdown. It makes it worse when the lockdown comes off. You get a bum rush in the supermarket, banks, etc. People are piled up. I think. Would you say that the Prime Minister has actually got that message now? And it's the reason why that lockdown is not anymore. And while I'm saying that as well, on YouTube, Dr. Makanda said 99% of Jamaicans have always been second-class citizens. The Constitution clearly states that Jamaica has managed to maintain a sophisticated apartheid system since 1962. I'm just reading comments from YouTube as well. But picking up on what O'Neill just said and what Natural Beauty. Lester, please go ahead, Lester.
With regards to that, O'Neill, there is an issue. Right? Right now, as it stands, there's over $300 million sitting down waiting for people to collect it. But guess what? These people are, would I say, undocumented? Okay, to collect the money, they need particular credentials, right? These people that can benefit from the system don't have these credentials to show to access this money. So they may not even have a bank account. They may not even have a valid ID. They may not have an ID. They may not have an address. They may not have certain credentials to show that, okay, I was gainfully employed so and so, or I lived here, or I lost this amount of income. There's so many things that, those simple, regular things that they needed to have to collect this money that is sitting there waiting for them. Now, when Oni speak about the cane man doesn't pay taxes. The cane man doesn't have a registered business where he can say, okay, I lost this revenue during this time, so I can apply to the Ministry of Social Security or Ministry of Finance and get back get some money from the government. Now, if these people are undocumented per se, how can the government go to this person when the government cannot identify this person as a cane man, as a taxi driver?
Well, Lester, I think the issue of taxes is separate, and we all know that there's a large underground economy in Jamaica, right? We know there's a lot of shops and whatever that are not, registered. And you could take that and say, yes, there are people who don't have the documentation for whatever reason. But this is where there needs to be better partnership with the churches. You have Food for the Poor. You have all these other entities, right, that could step in and help, right? I believe this is correct. Jamaica has more churches per square mile than any places else in the world, right?
And Rumbar.
So to me, if the government, and exactly what you're saying, the government know that there are people who don't have the proper registration. Well, partner with the churches, right? Partner with the churches so that cane man or that bag juice man actually can go somewhere and get a care package, right? That help him or her through those 3 days, right? So I think the system is there. We get it, but in time of needs, it's not like you're going to fix the paperwork issue, right? It's the question becomes, how do you take care of your citizen? Because, I saw, I forgot, it was Ioctane or someone else. And, he makes a point. He said, you locked down last year, but you open up back for election. And those same people now who are suffering is the same people that vote for you when you had an election in the middle of COVID, right? So I think it was Ioctane said that's hypocrisy, right? So to me, there are things the government could do, because when the government wanted to run an election, it didn't care about the pandemic. They ran the people came out and voted for him. So now he needs to take care of the people.
Can I just bring in something?
That is unfair, O'Neill.
Yeah, Lester, can I bring in something before I miss it out? Natural Beauty said, I have family that lives in Jamaica and have documents and don't know nothing about this money. What was that 300 million? You mentioned some money a while ago, Lester. It slipped me, but
he's the billionaire, has $300 million.
Yeah, tell us about the money. The people need the money, Lester. Let go the money.
If you go on the Ministry of Finance website or Dr. Nigel Clark's Twitter or Facebook, you can see all this information. I think it's the whole package or the care package or something like that. But it is there. I can get information and give it to her.
Sorry, Lester. What is the money for?
Yeah, what is the $300 million for?
It's like stimulus money, basically stimulus money.
Okay. We try to get some more information.
But also, you have PATH money that PATH usually paid out every other month. Since COVID, they have been paying it every month, and they've increased the amount of persons on PATH. They've increased the amount of payouts and stuff like that. Nobody's talking about that. So people are saying, "Oh, the government not care." That is not true. We have to give the whole story. And I'm not picking up on the government. What I'm doing, I'm giving more information. So poor people who are so-called affected by the lockdown, they get money from the PATH program. People who work in hotels, where the hotels were shut down, they got money from the Ministry of Finance. People who have businesses that were shut down, micro businesses, medium and small businesses got money. So poor people got money. So when persons are going to come on media or on a platform and said poor people are suffering and people not, and the government should do this and government should do that, right? That's not entirely factual. MPs up to this week, yesterday, I saw MPs going out into the communities, councillors going out into the communities, giving care package. Since the lockdown, every week, MPs on both sides of the divide have gone out with care packages, right? We have to understand that the money has to come from somewhere for these care packages to be assembled, right? So It is not just say, oh, the government should do this and the government should do that. The money has to come from somewhere, and government don't have this endless pit of or this big pool of money to pick from. Last thing before I start, O'Neill said that when the lockdown and this person cannot hustle, this person used to hustle for 2 or 3 days. O'Neill, let me say something to you. When I hear that argument, I rubbish that argument. People protest the government. People protest the government, say, them can't get for hustle, the daily hustling. These same persons live in marginalized, violent communities. I have seen downtown Kingston, when Rooster locked down downtown Kingston in half an hour. The same poor man never come out and say, Lord Zeeks and Rooster, they're wicked, we can't get for hustle. And downtown locked down for 3 days. When Klansman and one other a war, a Spanish town, 2, 3, 4 days Spanish town lockdown. The same taxi man, the same cocaine man, the same bag juice man, they cannot get to go either. I don't hear peak out of them people there. So why when the government do it if you're a national cause, people say the government wicked and Andrew wicked, but when the gunman do it, right, it's not a problem. Everybody cooperate.
So I think, you know, we're conflating two different things.
Yeah.
I do believe that there's some genuine people that do feel the heat in terms of the resources that they need to get through the 3 days or whatever the case may be. And we could argue that, you know, yeah, there are gang violence and it shuts down a particular area, you know, but in this case, right, you have a pandemic, you sort of have people who make a living regardless, right? And I do believe that the government, and as you said, and maybe we need to provide the information of where folks could go get those resources. But there are people that I know in Jamaica that they don't know what we're talking about, that 300 million. And maybe for whatever reason, right? My overall point, and I think this is where I keep going back to Lester, Jamaica has communities, right? Jamaica has church. You have food for the poor. You have all these entities. I do believe that you could mobilize those entities, right? You could communicate better, right, with the people, because, you know, they're adults, right? Jamaican people are not idiots just sitting there. And communicate clearly, right? To say, hey, just like what you just said, there's $300 million here. If you could show XYZ, you get X amount of dollars, right? And by the way, if you live in Rosetown, Church XYZ has care packages, right? So to me, those are the things that we need to communicate. Now, if we communicate all of that, then, you know, if the folks don't go and take advantage of those resources, then you can't blame the government. Yeah. But I would say, Lester, is that I don't believe the government communicated. No, what I'm saying, I don't believe the government communicated correctly or frequently in the last 2 weeks to the Jamaican people. I don't believe he has done a good job.
I strongly disagree because I have evidence to back it up. Me live in Netherlands. How me know about them program there?
Lester, let's put this. Let's put this into perspective, because you have access. There's something which you have, which is access, and that access is very powerful. You have that access based on your position. When you started to talk about the 300 million, my ears perked up, and I'm sure O'Neill as well, because we never knew about this information. Even Natural Beauty said, hang on a second, separate and apart from persons who do not have papers. She's saying she got families who have papers. I never knew about this. Not saying I need it, because I'm not in Jamaica and I don't benefit from it. But one of the things we have been talking a lot about is how do people manage? And I hear what you're saying, Lester, and your point is clearly made. But I think that a lot of people have struggled, are struggling at this time. They may not say it out. And,
I agree.
And to compare the lockdown with gunmen and COVID, which is a national thing, which is coming from the top, whereby persons are prevented based on a national crisis. Don't get me wrong. I believe the Prime Minister's intention is genuine, wanting for the best of Jamaica, you know. But we have to, and Anil can start the ball rolling on an initiative that we're planning to do. Well, we've started to do already, but at the same time, the topic is about travel. But but at the same time, travel linking with COVID lockdown travel. Travel is coming back out now. But let's carry on, please. And sorry, at the same time, if anybody want to come on, just let me know. Just say and bring a lady in at least time. Appear bullet. This is a bull assembly. Bring in a lady.
But okay, I agree that the information have not reached certain persons, right? I personally, I have a group with only bloggers in the group, and we have gone out on all platforms and posted this information how people can access money. You have persons who last year I'm talking about now, who their sole purpose was to assist people in getting this money.
Yes.
Thousands of people got the money, right? Now, what I'm saying is that the information, I don't know how else the Prime Minister could have put up the information to let people see it, because it was on the radio, it was on the news, it was on morning time, he on his platform, on the minister's platforms, right? It was all over. So when presidents say that they don't know about it, it's that they are not looking at the platforms that they should to get the information. So you can't blame the Prime Minister for not letting the information be available. Because if people don't watch news, if people don't listen to Andrew when they talk, or Nigel when they talk, or Dr. Tufton when they talk, you can't blame the ministers then and the leaders, right?
Yeah.
So these things were on billboards. These things were sent to churches, sent to interest groups.
So Lester, I actually found the information. So in April 2020, the government provides $17 billion. LASCO, I guess LASCO MoneyGram is the dispersing agent. Yes. Since April 2020, they have dispersed over $17 billion to 500,000 Jamaicans. So the $300 million is not specific for the lockdown. That was part of the care package that started last year, and there's a 2.1% that's left, which is a 300 million Jamaican dollars, right? So that is a LASCO, and people, you go to LASCO, you provide your government ID, and you could get it, but it's part of the CARES program.
Or Western Union. It's not just LASCO, no, but any money, any transfer. Right.
So, but my point is that the $17 billion were given out. There's $300 million Jamaican that's left, right? And it's not specific for the period of lockdown. This program started back in April 2020. So
yes.
Yes. So to that, to me now the government should have gone back out there. Let's just go back and say, hey, there's $300 million left over, right? People should go to all of these places, LASCO, MoneyGram, Zoom, whomever, to go collect it, right? So to me, it's sort of different than what we're talking about. And I suspect, as Silber talked about.
The issue is the credentials. People want to collect the money, but they don't have an ID.
But what I'm saying, Lester, is that they doled out to 500,000 Jamaican already, $17 billion.
Yeah.
So there's a $300 million left. So, to me, it sort of tied back to what you said when we started. That money doesn't come from, just out of the ether. The World Bank has provided money. There is loan guarantees from the IMF, China, all these stuff. Right now, I think moving from when the government announced a lockdown what are the specific programs to help? And you mentioned there are different things out there. And then, from a talk and sit perspective, because, one of the things that we talk about on this program is how do we solve problems?
Yes.
And what we have started to do is partner with a couple churches in Jamaica. We're in the process, and we'll put out more information. We're developing care packages that individuals would then start getting those care packages, right? So Silber and I, we've started the ball rolling. and hopefully by next week we'll have more information. But we're doing our part to help the people on the ground. And we found a reputable church in Jamaica out in Hannahtown that we're going to partner with, and we're going to provide care packages. And we're in the process of doing that, because we're not just talking. We're going to also help the Jamaican people where we can.
And it's very important, because I do recall when Jamaica is going through the process now, I believe, and if the figures are still climbing, it is what the UK was about 8-9 months ago. And I do recall a supermarket in my area, what they did was create care packages within the supermarket to distribute to destitute families in the area. Or what they did was link with the school, and the school will know exactly who are the destitute family, right? And then also the churches have this food bank along with the government, with different volunteer organizations where people can actually go there and get some sort of reprieve for those who are destitute and need help. What I don't know, and we're trying to work out, and we said we couldn't sure, is what is in Jamaica that is there to help persons when they are destitute. We're not talking about the government bit, but how average people can actually, in the supermarket, when I go to supermarkets down there, you buy a pack of drink like water, the Nestle water, 12 in the bottle, 12 in the pack. What people do is put 1 or 2 in this basket, which is there saying to help the needy, right? And when you pass in that thing, you see lots of food. And then they distribute these to key food bank areas as well. So I think where we're now at is COVID is here, vaccine or no vaccine. The key thing is, how do you actually help the people at the same time, those who are destitute? And that's the key thing.
But one of the big problems Jamaica is having, and I have spoken to several of my politician friends about it, and there seems to be a reluctance in fixing the system.
Yes.
To get charitable items into Jamaica, it's a huge headache and red tape. And no matter how you say and prove it that this is for charity, the duty that they're charging you makes no sense. Sometimes the duty that they're charging you costs way more than what the items you are shipping in. And we have to fix that problem, because a lot more Jamaicans or a lot more institutions want to donate and help, but to get things into Jamaica, it's very, very expensive. And it's like you give them, and you have begged them to take it into the country.
But we have to fix it. But there's a way around that, O'Neill, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's a way. The way we're getting around that, Lester, and we'll give you more details. We're sending the funds to folks that we could trust down there that is going to make sort of go out and create the care packages. So that's what we have decided to do, is to partner with the church in the particular community, because I believe that the pastors in these areas, they know who those families are. And the thing that
trusted
we have
pastors,
trusted pastors, and we have commitment from the pastor, that they'll provide accounting and all the things that we want. And Silvern and I were like, at the end of the day, we're not doing this for you to what the word we use, Silvern. We're not doing this to get in the paper. We're just doing this behind the scenes because we really want to help the Jamaican people who need the resources.
We have to also understand that. So, like one of my friends, she lives in Belgium. She has her own business, and so she would collect like children clothes from persons in the community, right? So persons, foreign state people have the kids outgrow clothes, or you buy too much clothes, but the clothes is still new. It still can wear. So they want to get so they want to donate these clothes. So they may not have the intention to donate money, because that's what I do. Even to them, we send some money to Jamaica, right? So they want to donate clothes, shoes, bags, stuff like that. To get that into Jamaica, the government of Jamaica has to make this accessible into Jamaica, easy than too much red tape. The last time she tried to get a pallet of clothes and shoes and stuff into Jamaica, right? The money where them a charge her, she said, but this don't make sense. So she said, send back my pallet. Them send it back and she sent it to Ghana, and there was no problem getting it into Ghana.
Listen. Let's say you got a point there. You got a point. Sorry, go on. Listen, go on. Sorry, finish.
I think we kind of sway up. I want to say one thing. The Prime Minister and the government of Jamaica and the opposition, there's a collective. We need to understand as citizens how important travel is to Jamaica. Jamaica is a tourist destination.
Yes.
Travel is the lifeline of our country. And everything else supports the travel industry, the tourist industry. Persons, I said, the ship is stay out and lock down the airport, they don't understand what they're asking. And I think the government has failed miserably to break down in details, layman terms, how important travel is. That we're to be relatively open, that travel can continue. They have not done that.
And you're seeing it, Lester, is not just Jamaica, right? Italy is a perfect example. Huge, income coming from tourism. And you notice when the European Union make their sort of, pronouncement and say, hey, we recommend this. Each country says, you know what? No, like Italy, for example, was locked down and they made the decision, in places like Venice and other places to open those places up. And you can't open safely, right? When I traveled to Italy, you have to either show that you have a vaccine passport or you have a test, and you have to carry the test around. So those are things that I think, what the Jamaican government, as you said, need to say, look, we're bringing tourists in, but we have created this corridor. And they did it last year where the tourist was coming in. You just couldn't leave Montego Bay or Ocho Rios or whatever the case may be. Right, Negril, you had to stay in those corridors.
Nobody went to Ocho Rios.
They went to Port Maria.
Port Maria, yeah.
So travel is important, but Lester, I do believe this is where, regardless of who the government is, and every subsequent government for years have talked about diversifying the economy in Jamaica. Mining is huge in Jamaica. That sector needs to be revitalized, right? So there are other things that you could do. You could attract manufacturing base into Jamaica, right? Jamaica is close to the U.S. You have the BPO industry that's there. So Jamaica could start thinking about how to diversify their economy. The issue that you have is you have to make a decision as a government, where do you make the big investment in? Because you're going to borrow the money, or you have to take investors coming in. So I do believe there are things that the Jamaican government could use COVID to say, we must figure out how to diversify our economy. The BPO industry is thriving there. But I do believe that Jamaica could be a huge manufacturing base, right? If you're able to get, like a Tesla factory in Jamaica, right? You start attracting all these folks that you build stuff and shift stuff. The aluminum, we have to move beyond just shipping raw material and start smelting some of that, so you get more foreign exchange. So I do believe there are things that the government could start doing, and you could attract the foreign direct investment into Jamaica because you're close. You're close to the U.S. You're close to Canada, right? So I do believe, and the last thing I'll say, I do think that Jamaica, not just Jamaica, but the Caribbean as a whole, has to revitalize CARICOM. You need sort of that trade corridor.
That's like
for years they've tried to figure it out, but now you need to do that.
That's
like a topic which has been going on for a while.
O'Neill?
Yeah.
You are 110 million% right. But guess what's the problem now with manufacturing? They will take the manufacturing to to Puerto Rico or to Dom Rep or to Mexico because the labor force there is cheaper and energy there is cheaper. Jamaica need to get their energy problem under control.
Correct.
Right? Manufacturers are not going to rush to Jamaica. And the funny thing, Jamaica has the only port that is open 24 hours, Sunday to Sunday.
But to Lester, that's what I'm saying. There's investment that you need to make to reduce the cost, right? There's solar, there's wind.
Solar,
Jamaica, if you see where Jamaica is, Jamaica's a transshipment point.
Yeah.
They could get a deep port there. And then all of a sudden, Jamaica becomes transshipment point, right? If you look at where geographically, we're at the perfect place. So we have to develop that logistic hub in Jamaica. So guess what? When the vessels are coming from China, they could dock in Jamaica and then vessels go from Jamaica upwards, right? So to me, these are investment and
like what they do in Singapore.
Exactly. So it's sort of Silburn is where you always hear people talk about the diaspora and investment. These are things that, you know, can be invested in terms of reduce the energy because the cost per kilowatt is really high in Jamaica, right? So to me, it's an investment that they need to make because if you make those investments, it's going to pay off. And I'll use Dubai as an example. If you recall when Dubai, the king, I forgot his name now, when he created the port, everybody laughed at him because back in the 60s, he said, I'm going to create one of the deepest port, the second deepest port in the world. And everybody was like, why are you doing that? Nobody's coming to Dubai. This was back in the 60s. And look at Dubai now. Dubai is a transshipment point into Africa because that vision that the first king did, even people just laughed after him. He's like, that's fine. I'm creating big anyway. And look at how it benefits Dubai.
Is that why Goat Island was being attractive?
Yeah, but because of marine issues and stuff like that, Andrew scrapped it, and he has suggested several other places where they can put the hub. So they're looking into that now. The thing about what he's only said about Dubai is that even in Rotterdam here, because the Europort here was the largest port in all of Europe and Asia, and they laughed at Dubai when Dubai was doing their thing because guess what? Dubai's port is very modern. Right? Yep. They keep upgrading it and the facilities is marvelous. Abu Dhabi also, right? And the Netherlands has not upgraded their port to the level that Dubai's port has been upgraded to.
Yes.
You know, so we have to look at. I think what the government has failed to do is intelligent, effective partnerships, because partnerships is what gets us from level 1 to level 2. You know, and we need partnerships because we don't have we ourselves as a government don't have the resources, so we have to rely on partnerships.
Correct, and I think that's where we have to figure out how you fund those projects, right? In terms of, hey, and I haven't seen it, and it might be out there, Lester, is to say, to do this massive development, it's going to cost X. And then Silver, I don't know if you've ever been to Dubai. Dubai built the equivalent of a Washington, D.C. for the entire train system underground in less than 10 years. Right? Think about that. They built almost a modern day Washington, D.C. with underground, train system, everything, a brand new part of the country in less than 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. So I think, those are the vision. And sometimes I think this is where politics sort of show its ugly head, is that, to me, there are developments that need to transcend politics to say, look, it might be started under this government, but that other government, let's continue it because it's really beneficial to the long-term health and economic safety of the Jamaican people.
It's interesting because I'm going to bring in David Chen a bit later. He's going to come on shortly. And I remember years ago, David has been talking about St. Thomas before St. Thomas is being developed in now, and he kept calling out Ed Bartlett or Wakeler McNeil, whosoever was the Minister of Tourism during the course of that time. But he's going to come on shortly just to talk about the whole aspect of tourism and the whole travel bit regarding Jamaica. And I think, in a way, that as rightly as O'Neill said, the things which are working, I always say this all the while, even when I'm walking and talking and my motivational stuff. Once you tap into something that is working, go boost mode. Really go at it full on. And that is why I like Ed Bartlett over the years, because he's a capitalist. He capitalized on all different things and that's just him. He breathes and sleeps tourism. And people sometimes might be thinking he's a bit overzealous, but that's what is needed in a way for Jamaica.
Exactly.
At this time.
As you mentioned St. Thomas, St. Thomas has one of the few category level 5 data center in the Caribbean, and all the dark fiber that comes connecting North America, the UK, and the other Caribbean actually comes right into St. Thomas. There's a former, it's a what do they call it now, Lime or what?
No, Earth Station.
Yeah, it used to be TOJ. I don't know what they.
Yeah, I'm
So right there, that's a level 5 hurricane, everything, and all the dark fiber actually comes in right there.
Right there, I know exactly where it is. I've been there.
Let me just writing God said something earlier than I. Creative industry. The last IMF was paid off by the creative industry. Christine said we party our way out of debt. Is it Christine Lagarde is talking about? Christine there?
Yeah, probably Christine Lagarde.
IMF lady there.
We've reduced our debt. We haven't paid off our debt, and some of that is that we are hamstrung in terms of how.
We still have internal debt too. Debt.
Exactly, because what happened is that back in, I forgot what administration said they were moving away from IMF in terms of, which they did, but then they went and borrowed money from the private market, right? And then they restructured their debt a couple of years ago. So at one point, Jamaica was, I think they were paying 120% of GDP.
Yes.
And I think now it's down to probably about 101%, or whatever it is now.
Yeah, they're
but it's reducing, and those are some of the issues, right? So if you could get your debt under 80%, then you have 20% that you could use to make major investment in the country. Right now, you're just getting investment in to pay the debt, and then you have to keep borrowing to keep everything afloat. And one of the biggest consumer of foreign exchange for Jamaica government is importation of oil. So that, again, to the point you make, Lester, is that how do you reduce that dependency on oil, and how you diversify that sector, right? In terms of solar.
It's simple. Partnership. You have diplomats. What are the diplomats doing? I feel we should call on the diplomat, the ambassador, because obviously you're not making any leeway in partnerships.
Are you trying to follow France? France, as we call a few ambassadors.
Silver, if you look at Denmark, look at the model that Denmark uses, right? Denmark uses all their garbage to produce energy. They need so much garbage that they start buying garbage from other European countries to produce energy, and they sell the energy.
But Lester, it goes back again to the investment, right? That's the thing. It's those plants. Totally sorry to cut you, but everything we're talking about goes back to investment, right? Is what is it that the government should focus on? I do believe they focus on the infrastructure, which is road, right? Which now you have some really good highways. To me, the next major investment should be energy. That sector should be invested.
Bruce Golding spoke about it in 2008. There was a company that's supposed to come and take over the landfill, the two landfills, and after a while, We don't hear anything about it. The companies were interested, and they were going to come and they were going to turn boil the energy, and I don't know what happened. You know, usually, and look here, I'm not holding party lines tonight. Usually, what happened, a politician have not gotten their way. It's not going to benefit them. So this program is scrapped.
Welcome, welcome my loyal subjects. Welcome my loyal subjects.
Yeah, certain things has to transcend politics, right? And this is where you have to develop those roadmaps to say, you know, at the end of the day, what is it in the best interest of the long term? It's just like I was having a conversation with another fellow colleague, and one of the things I said, you know, technology is a huge thing that Jamaica could get into, right? Right now, you know, automation is transcending the world as we know it. You know, if you try to get anyone in any of the education institutes to talk about artificial intelligence and automation, YouTube, there's not much in that sector.
We're live on
so to
Instagram.
Me, there's a way to focus on the energy that you mentioned, Lester, because that's important, because then you could attract, you know, manufacturer base into Jamaica. The
Shipburn TV,
you know, shipping industry, you could do that. And then also, you know, technology, right? Jamaica has really good university, right? And we could leverage those things. You know, I remember there was an app that was used in New York to mark the potholes. It was developed by a student at the Northern Caribbean University.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, these are things that we're talking about travel.
And that is based in Manchester and not Ocho-Rios, right?
Yes, it's in Mandeville, and
I've been there. They have a campus in Kingston also, but they didn't put a campus in Ocho-Rios for obvious reasons.
Yeah, they put it in Port Maria.
you notice I don't comment when you guys talk about Ocho-Rios because
you can't comment. You can't comment. But the thing is, O'Neill, you're right. The Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Culture, and the Ministry of Technology need to be more collective in terms of saying, hey, this AI thing, you know, so we need to start introducing AI from an early age, from primary school or in first or in high school or something, so that by the time they reach to 11th grade or 12th grade, you know, they are like really masters of it. There's many things within the technological realm that we have not even like coding. You know, we have not touched coding as yet.
No, you're right. And then natural beauty talks in agriculture as well. You know, large scale, industrial, organic. I have a good friend, and I won't say what he's doing, but he's working on 1,800 acres where he's going to do an organic farm. He finally, and this is telling, after 8 years, having the plan in place, shopping it around to say, look, the organic market in the U.S., the what do you call it, the volume that they needed, we can't produce. So they're looking for other countries. And he's been shopping this around for 8 years. And finally, he got investment last week, and he's going to start developing 1,800 acres.
Listen, and I don't buy that money. Look, we have to start looking around to see how first world countries are doing it, right? We have Japan, China, America, the Netherlands, and Germany, other countries start making farms in high-rise buildings, right? We have many spaces in inner city. If we want to revolutionize the inner city, we have to put investment into the inner city, right? There are spaces there, right, in many inner cities that we can build these massive buildings and use it as it's like a greenhouse there.
Right? Hydroponic farming.
Yes, exactly. And train the people in the inner city, right, so that they have jobs, because these plants take a lot of people to work there, right? Have them drive the trucks to the port to do it, have them in the factory to wrap it and stuff and label it and stuff like that. So the investment can be done in terms of farming, organic farming, in the inner city without doing in spread it on land.
Let's for a second. I see Alex is saying how. Tell us how. And Floyd Green, who was the previous minister, and even before Floyd Green, Was there any thinking from the government in that respect?
Yes, Floyd has it at a small level, but not anything big. We're still farming just like how we farmed in slavery days.
And Lester and Silborn, if you look at, I'm going to use the cannabis industry as an example. So Colorado was the first, and then you have Oregon. These places have massive hydroponic. No, they're all hydroponic. The same thing you're talking about, where they're growing cannabis indoor. You have all these, various different farms that are massive. Yeah, in Virginia, you go down into into southern Virginia, you see massive farms, right? Massive infrastructure in place. And I do believe you could do the same and similar in Jamaica. The question becomes the land, right? Jamaica has tons of land, but can the Jamaican government then do sort of parcel out some of those land to say, hey, if Lester want to go grow yam, right? Lester go grow yam land here, we'll take a percentage, and then he has a market for it, right? So those are things that we could do. So I'll give you an example. There's a yam called St. Vincent yam, which is a purple yam.
Yeah.
Someone in Jamaica is sending it to Wegmans here, right? That yam, because it's purple, I forgot the medical benefits that comes from it that they say. That yam is $8 a pound, right? That's $8 a pound for that yam. But when it comes in Wegman, Lester, in 2 seconds it's gone.
Yeah, I know.
It's just gone in 2 seconds. You come and you just see just the label. So there's a market there for Jamaican goods. There's a market there for Jamaican products. Yeah. We just have to do a better job of figuring out how do we put the investment in place.
And that is why I have a problem with the Minister of Youth and Culture, because part of youth and culture is to engage these type of thinking into the youth and culture, right? Not just about entertainment, and even on that front, in terms of the creative industry, there are billions of dollars around the world in royalties and publishing owed to Jamaicans sitting there in escrow accounts, right? And people can't collect it, and there's no push towards collecting it. When we have only 2% of the reggae revenue coming back to Jamaica, and you have $20 million, $2 billion generated going to outside people, right? We have to start having, as a government, as a people, society, right, intelligent thinking, how we can collectively put all these things together to build our country, right? It cannot just be land, sea, sex, sun.
Yeah.
We have to move away from that. And farming has to be now, like, it's the thing is that in first world countries, farming is heavily subsidized by the government, right? And we are still farming as if it were in the cotton picking days, literally cotton picking days.
And sometimes too, Lester, is, the Western countries like the US, France, they have to also help because they subsidize their farming to the level where even if you have large scale farming in Jamaica, they still can't compete because in the US, we pay farmers not to farm, right? You can have, there are places.
My loyal subjects. Yes.
What's going on, Alex? We pay people.
What's going on? One moment, Alex.
So we pay people not to farm. I have friends who have land that, they could plant corn, but, to control the supply, the government pay them every year not to farm that land, right? So some of those, that's one of the reasons, if you remember, Lester, when we were trying to do the negotiation to extend NAFTA to Brazil and the CARICOM, the issue was the subsidy. And they were unwilling to give up the subsidy and also provide market for these agricultural goods. And those are some of the issues that I think, hopefully with Kamala Harris and her sort of connection to the Caribbean, she started pushing to say, let's figure out how to create the market within this area, because that's how you sort of, open up trade, because there's almost 1 billion people in this hemisphere.
I just brought on Alex. Alex, how are you doing, buddy? You good?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey.
I'm doing super fine.
Yeah.
What's going on?
What you drinking?
Boy, life is really good enough. Life is really good.
What you drinking?
And I'm here. We gotta cheers it.
Cheers. So hold on one second, Alex. So Lester, I want to give you a stat. I just pulled it up. The 2020 revenue from reggae. How much you think it is?
I don't know.
$12 billion US.
Revenue from?
Huh?
Revenue from?
Reggae music worldwide is 12.1 billion.
Worldwide. Okay, I'm glad you qualified that right there. Worldwide. Okay.
Yeah, worldwide. But but how much of that is going back into Jamaica?
Yeah.
About 2% or 0.2%, something like that.
Going to Beenie Man, Bob Marley, Shaggy.
I want to bring in Alex, because Alex, while Lester was talking, Alex kept saying, "Tell me why. Tell us why." And Alex says it's not going to happen, and I'll tell you why.
Because Alex own all the
No, the fact is, the land here in Jamaica is the people and land. The land here in Jamaica does not belong to the Queen of England. And I can publicly say that. The people of Jamaica need to recognize that they are the power at hand. When London Bridge goes down, that code, London Bridge goes down, and that woman there, Elizabeth, that her call herself the Queen of England, in her books, and her subjects, which is the Governor General, Patrick Allen, and these other members of their government, when they have this seeding generation thing of passing on saying, listen, Europeans own this land here. It is a serious thing. No, the reason why the things are the way they are, it is for the policies that have been created for the same administration of colonial children inheritance. To own the land and to actually create not only a space where tourists can come, it is not going to be developed, and they want this country them to be dependent. That's why GMO food is so rampant right now. And the pharmaceutical companies always playing a key role into this, because they know that if they create GMO food and seedlings, just like the American government, and the American government in particularly, they are the one that have a vested interest into GMO food. Why? Because they know that they have the market locked. You cannot even use repeated seeds on the US market. On the US market in particularly, when they produce thousands and tons and tons of sweet potato, Irish potato in particularly, and they want to make them French fried chips. And those particular French fried chips, potato, is not in use, meaning they're not of a certain quality, but they still can be used domestically within household. They don't issue it. You don't see them issue it and ship it to other places in the world, such as Africa, South America. They don't. You know what they do? They go to the desert here, and it opens and they dump tons and tons. Very good food and so on to those wastage. It is of a dependency that they want to control the food supply and control the people. So when it comes to Jamaica now, the Chartered Agreement Act, the Minister of Agriculture and so on, the Minister of Agriculture is nowhere in power. It is a board of directors with a committee within the order that appointed him to this portfolio. And he have to take instruction from these slave masters, these puppets that are there to actually steer the direction of the narrative of dependency. So you have to hear the Minister of Agriculture, he's just collecting a paycheck, just like Patrick Allen too, and his benefits. None of these people are in power. It is a government within a government. It's a government within a government. So when you, as the ordinary Jamaican, think that they will fund these agricultural projects, they're not going to do it. And they will give small donation as incentive to try stimulus package.
To make it look as if something is happening.
It has to be looking plausible. It has to be looking like the government is doing something.
Yes.
So when I hear about United Nations and these other people giving donations into starting these projects, it is just enough to get you over one bump, but it's not to sustain the project. And what I'm saying to you is, with the politics, it is of the narrative that you will have to depend on the first world nation. I get you. Look a bit more further than that. 2030 vision by the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ. What they have in the manifesto for Jamaica, you look at the agriculture sector, there is nothing there for the local produce. They used to have something called Wednesday market, which is known as flea market. Them cut that thing out. Roger Clark, dead and gone. What am I talking about? When those local producers were producing Irish potato and sweet potato by the tons, you know what those man do? Them man, they import foreign onion from O'Neill's place, which is the United States, pan ton, from the small farmers them. Right? That's what they did. And it is not, say, this government or that government. Whichever government is in power, they are picking up the agenda of the last government.
Give me whichever party is in power.
Whichever party.
It's just one government.
It's just one government. So the narrative of a smaller man, he don't understand the distinction that it is a monopoly that is being played on the poor class of people. Once you become a level of awareness, and you figure out how to make money, the system don't empower people like us. You know what they try to do? They try to use you to create a next narrative to facilitate their transaction and to make them look good. So it is nothing, and it will not happen like that under my watch and any other watch. You will see.
All right,
so Alex, I'm gonna say, you say all of that, but I do believe that NAFTA is what killed the market for a lot of Caribbean countries. St. Mary had the largest export banana industry in the hemisphere, right? When NAFTA came through, they made it much more expensive for St. Mary banana to come to the U.S., right, just to be shipped. So
that is one point, but you forget, the pharmaceutical part of it.
So what I'm saying is that there are policy decisions that were made in the 80s that made it harder for Jamaican farmers to export their produce to not only exactly. So they made it harder. So if you remember what the Jamaican government, I forgot the policy with the UK and then the European Union, where you could ship the Jamaican bananas, right, duty free. The problem is that.
Let's step it up a bit.
So hold on, let me finish, Alice. The problem is that the point you're making is that Jamaica used to have a vibrant agricultural sector back in the 70s and the 80s more. But when NAFTA take hold, Jamaican produce coming into the US were much more expensive than any place else. So you don't have market. So if you don't have market, you don't have investment. So
let me take it up a step notch. Let me show you something. I listen to these keywords very carefully. This is a king going to say something of, and this is very profound. And this is what is going to happen to the Order of Jamaica. You ready?
Yeah.
What is happening with the Order of Jamaica right now with the bank itself? You have the commercial banks that are buying up the land, leasing the land for 50 and 100 years. And what the banks are doing right now when it comes to agriculture is, in particularly with that man there, they call from the NCB, Michael Leachin. They're buying up the land, leasing the land, and the small business, you know what they do? They're telling the persons that now we are going to export on a mass scale to the different countries and set up the arrangement. However, you as a small man now, we're going to give you different sublocks. And when we cannot fill the order, you're going to take your order and sell it to us so we can make and sell it off. So let me show you what I'm going again. That's our next monopoly. You as a small man will never come out of poverty. You are subservient. You're working for the bigger heads. They do not want to give you a fair shot at you directly getting a foot in the door. And that's what I'm trying to show you. This is how it is happening. And you can check it out.
I strongly disagree.
All right, listen. Hold on. Listen.
Tell me why I disagree now. Tell me why I disagree.
Hold on. Sorry, let me just say something. Sorry, Nick. Only 1 second. I've got David Chen to come in at some point. He's on the outside there waiting. But
no, I can make my point and then
yeah.
So Alex, my grandfather, when he was alive, and it goes back to the point that you're not.
No, me just make a point about 2020, 2021, current things, you know.
So what used to happen, there was a central collection point for a lot of produce. So my grandfather, every Friday, starting Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, people would bring yam, cocoa, everything, and it got centrally collected, and he pays those farmers. And then on a Saturday, the trucks will come and take them wherever they take them to. All right. Now, I have a land in Jamaica. I have probably about 80 acres of land that is sitting there and not doing anything. So I do believe the issue for small farmers is that they don't have access to market. I remember during the holidays, these trucks will go from place to place and buy up the yams and then export. So a lot of people will make money.
They used to bring up the Kingston and Marcus Garbage, but besides amalgamated limited.
Exactly. You don't have those systems in place. So I do believe that, yes, you might have these central farmers. I mentioned, Alex, I have a friend down there that actually just got investment for 1,800 acres, small farm that he's going to do all organic. He's going to employ about 100 people, right? So to me, it's not the fact that NCB is buying up land. The question becomes, what is a system in place to ensure that the small farmers are able to produce and supply some of these?
You're just like working a 9-to-5 job. There's none. What I'm trying to put in the narrative is the government are being in the favorable of the banks, and it is so they play a monopoly on the market. Just like JPS right now, everybody are crying murder. And a bit further now,
so Silver,
I need O'Neil to stay. I want to get David in to finish up the bit on the travel tourism. Alex, you made some very powerful points, and Alex, we'll have to do a program to look at how to combat, how to able to actually bridge the gap and to make a difference there, because what I'm picking up is that this can't happen, but of course there's a way forward. So we'll have to pick up something, Alex, on those powerful points that you make, because that cannot be done and discussed in a 30-minute thing. We need a marathon.
But I have some facts to lay on Alex, but when we have that show,
yes,
Alex and I can go at.
Yeah, because I want to finish up the bit on the tourism bit, because David have some points they want to finish up on. Alex.
Nothing wrong with that. All people in Europe just watch it and say the cruise ship them are coming and I say, what? I'm glad you there, Lester, wearing a green shirt.
Yes.
You live right, no problem.
No, I'm wearing a Jamaica shirt, sir.
Alex.
Yeah, man.
Alex.
Alex. You live right, but nothing wrong.
Alex. Alex, hold on. Alex, I'm glad you
can't see the ship ever coming in, and the government is bringing in people coming out of the country, and you as a born Jamaican paying tax in the country to them, to their government. And you can go outside, go walk up and down, you see?
Alex,
tell you about these double standard government.
Alex, I'm glad that glad that you assigned me to Ocherius and you aligned me, because these guys were trying to deselect me from Ocherius earlier.
But you're not really from St. Anne.
It's from Fort Maria.
He's not from St. Anne.
Oh,
Alex,
He's not from St. Anne.
what you talking about? Them man have coastline, what you talking about?
He was born in
Watch
Fort
the
Maria.
people, but they want to play that fan plate.
The man born closer to Portland than anything.
I just disclosed that my birth certificate that I was born in Port Maria, Alex, and you know, they're getting a bit crazy. You know.
O'Neil, I don't know where they know St. Mary. I don't know where they know St. Mary. Port Maria is closer to Portland than close to
Alex, thanks for that. We're gonna touch base, Alex, all right?
But you know who is
All right.
the
Thank you, Alex. Respect, Alex.
Ninja,
All right, goodbye, my loyal subject. Until next time.
All right, respect.
Ninja Man is from Fort Maria.
I'm neighbor.
Yeah, Ninja Man.
Ninja Man come from Anatomy, I think, you know.
Somewhere there.
Who's that?
I just saw a news
Ninja
that,
Man.
the Bunny Whale and the Bob Marley house in Trenchtown got torched.
Really?
Huh?
Yeah, there's a
Something in the yard.
I don't know that it's it's the Bob Marley and the Bunny Whale, a former home in Trenchtown, got torched.
Oh, a real joker.
David, where I say?
Greetings, brethren.
Where I drink, sir? Where I drink?
I mean, I cuss someone with a green shirt and I'm saying Jamaican color my so don't cuss it. I can take you know well, let me ask a question now. Which party you support? Jamaica Labour Party.
But parties support I support O'Neil Party.
I support Ochi Party.
O'Neil is a Republican. Well, I am a Jamaican.
I'm an independent American Jamaican. That's it.
Well done, my brothers. And listen now, Alex raised some serious points.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
You see with the farming thing now with this lockdown, those who understand the demographics around farmers used to go to the market on a Thursday. Them jump on a market truck on a Thursday.
Friday.
Them sleep in the market on Friday, unload and get ready for Saturday Friday evening. Friday evening, all of the traders come by for Carswood Market, Linstead Market, and Saturday them get the normal customers. Yeah, but even Carnation Market and some of the experience. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the night, the trucks come in and the vendors buy from the truck bill. Trust or credit from the truck. Exactly. Right? From a Thursday Friday, yeah. From Thursday Friday, you know, so there's a lot of activity has been shelved, cut out because of what is happening. And it's affecting a lot of people. And we can't deny that.
Yeah. Well, listen.
Yes, and the thing is, my question to this too. With this lockdown now, right? Lockdown from a Saturday night, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So what all those people now who come from Wayo to come into Kingston, how do they survive all those nights sleeping in the market? Do you understand? I don't know if no kosher party. But as Jamaicans, how do we deal with that? Many old, and I remember some most of the people who are market traders are elderly people. Yeah. So I don't know if the government really thinking about all of this.
Yeah. David, and you, I don't know if you when we started, that's the point we were sort of debating. You know, my grandmother actually used to leave Sanguinetti on a Thursday or a Wednesday and drive to Kingston Coronation Market and come back Sunday, right? And they go sell, and they're the truck that takes them in. And the point I was making with Lester is that the government should have done a better job communicating. So to the point you just said is that all those folks, they are going to trust, as Lester says, from the farmers who are waiting for that money on Friday. Because I remember my grandmother used to come, and on Sunday morning, all the farmers will come for their money. Exactly. That money is for school fee,
yes,
for food, for the week, for everything else, and they do it
everything for the week.
Right?
But hold on, O'Neil. I take it a step further. The truckman, as I said, I experienced this. The truckman trusts the gas from the gas station.
As well.
it got deeper, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, very, very deep, brother. It's very, very deep. Let me say something. It's a serious situation, you know. Yeah. Okay. For the last
David,
couple.
No,
yeah,
sorry.
brother.
No, and that's what we've been debating to say, we think there should be better communication, but the question becomes, what happened not only to the marketers, but the day guy who's doing a one job here today, go up a cherry garden, go cut some grass, go here, get $20, and that's how he suffered. And that's how he survived. Yeah. He's a hustler. But now you shut him down.
Listen, and I'm not being partisan or anything, right? It's just that we as Jamaicans, right now, we as Jamaicans need to put away the JLP and the PNP and not being independent, but be as Jamaicans, right? And sometimes when we love our country, we do get ignorant with the way we say certain things, and people think that we're bashing them, but it's not a bashing thing. Right now, I mean, we don't mind me now. Right? And I left Atlanta yesterday. Right? Moving on to somewhere else, maybe in another week or so. The reason why, and I see this say it publicly, I'm actually trying to find out since 2013, when I left the UK,
yes,
I haven't seen no difference based on our own people, how we're moving forward. I think there's a lot of ignorance within the Jamaican, sorry about this, Jamaican diaspora.
David, you and I agree. David, you and I agree on many. David, you and I agree on many things.
And the thing is, we create many ideas independently, right? But when we create ideas independently, people who are at the head of the diaspora boards, they go around and they're stealing the ideas. They're not supporting the younger people who really want to come in as entrepreneurs. So when you want to talk about tours in Silburn, 3 JLP members, or no, take a JLP, three parliament people had to resign recently. Andrew Holness is drawing back one to put him on a higher level. How do you think the people them feel about that now? When you have, take out Beanie Man out type, but they look at everyday people who run the beach, police lock them up. You see videos of police that beat up people. Oh, then look at thing, brother. It is painful. And then when people from across the world are watching all these things that our leaders are doing to our people, our everyday people, and then allowing foreigners come in to enjoy the country. My brother, it is painful. My brother, it is very, very painful. I mean, now bash Andrew right now. I think for the last couple of weeks, I've been having meetings with people from Atlanta, Connecticut, coming down, and it is so embarrassing. I swear to God, I am embarrassed to be at the nation.
So David, I totally agree with what you're saying, and I don't know how we fixed it. And the thing that Silburn and I and Lester we talk about, and so how do we support the folks there? And we're doing our little bit, right? There's some partnerships that we're doing with churches there to provide care packages to folks in different communities. Because I do agree with you that there's a tier level, right? The point you make around the folks trying to get the beach, the police. And this is where I go back and I say to Lester, this is where the communication by the Prime Minister was lacking, right? And I do believe last year he was communicating every day, right? And somehow, right, this lockdown, he has not come out there each day, take questions for whatever reason, right? And now, to the point you're making, there are people who are hurting, and we could talk. Right, we could talk, and I do agree with you. And Silburn will tell you about my perspective on the diaspora, and that's why I don't play there a lot. We could do something, right? And collectively, you and I, we're in the U.S. Lester's in Netherlands and Silburn, is we have to collectively figure out how to support, because we can't impact policy in the way we hope we could. We could say, hey, we're going to hold back remittance, but that's going to hurt the Jamaican people, right?
It's going to hurt Jamaican people because I tried it.
Exactly. So the question now, how do we then get folks on the ground who we could trust, like what we're doing with Silburn, so we could say, hey, we're going to provide the resources to the people, like the folks who were supposed to go to the market and other folks. That's the solution that I could think about. And then there's a piece to lobby the government to say, hey, you got to communicate more. You can't take a guy, for whatever reason, he was out there. You had a protocol. He breached the protocol, and then to your point, it's sort of throwing that in the Jamaican people's face, right? To me, that's leadership and communication that has to be.
Can I just say something here, because I'm trying to juggle the different platforms. I'm on YouTube as well, and somebody, Herbert, said, I just flagged this up. A former prime minister said Jamaica was like a prostitute just waiting for the big man with the money. You know, and David, after Gaza, you can come back in to give your perception from when you and I were in the UK. Well, I'm in the UK. You left the UK, and your vision. Have you seen a difference now than then when you're moving forward? Have you seen those changes in regards to tourism, especially in St. Thomas? But let's talk first, and then pick up on our.
I think one of the problems we are having in Jamaica is finding people, right? And like if a similar
Lester, when you say finding people,
what do you mean by that, Lester? Okay, like say you have like the farmers then, right? Say you have 1,500 registered farmers with RADA, so the government can find these people because they're registered. But you have something like maybe 30,000 farmers in Jamaica, right? So the other 28,000, you can't find them because they're in the whole pool of the whole farming and market infrastructure, but they are unregistered farmers. How do we get money to these farmers? What size plot they have? What type of farm products they have? You know, what I think is that I don't think we have certain laws and regulations to say if you're going to farm, you must be registered so we can find you. You know, you as a Jamaican citizen, like in the Netherlands, you must have an identification. If the police stop you on the road and say, "Where your ID?" you have to produce an identification or you're going to jail. That is not right. So in Jamaica, we have to be able to identify groups of people. So if assistance is needed, we can get assistance to them. We have to start there first. Because we can't just have money to say, all right, anybody going to come over Western Union or come up Bastion and collect money.
No, listen, that is so true, right? But at the same time, you have to understand that the demographics of Jamaica and the mentality of our own people over the years is, somebody said earlier about hustle, right? We need to take out the hustle mentality out of us big time. Very, very important. Okay, you're on farming right now, right? Where I eat?
Cucumber.
Okay, go on eat cucumber. Good, keep it healthy. Listen to me now. Say a cucumber farmer, right? No. Let's use coffee. Coffee, first of all. One sack of coffee, the coffee farmers don't want to do coffee no more, you know. 1 pound of coffee sells for about $50 in Japan, as an example. And one crocus bag sack of coffee, I don't think I get more than $10,000 Jamaican money. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? So you can imagine a farmer on his. The other day, I was in St. Thomas, and I took a guy down the hill. He had 2 sacks of renta yam, and all he was getting for the massive bag of renta yam was 4,000 Jamaican dollars. That was painful. When I'm done, I give him $5,000. I said, brother, keep the money, go buy some blocks for your house. Can I say I want 400 blocks? Someone said, I buy 50 blocks for you. Him say, serious? But you talk about the money, the exchange money. Sometimes we can identify people in communities who are really doing great things. They may be registered or not, but who are doing great things, clean up the yard, clean up the farm, making sure certain things in place. These people, they may just want simple things, clothes, look at the other end. You understand what I'm saying? They don't want a big thing. But the massive, right, the RADA and places like that, they're the ones who are actually raping the country. You mentioned prostitution, Silbert, right? Rape in the country. And that's where the rape and the prostitution comes in. Is that the bigger heads tend to actually go in, extort the people them who don't really understand, don't have the brain power for hold a pen and a paper, and that's where the problem comes in.
But David, what are you? You realize that the money from coffee to the small farmers took a big hit when a particular banker went into farming? Okay.
Yeah. Because they understand the value.
So in terms of...
It's business at the end of the day.
It's business at the end of the day, right?
But who is looking after the... Sorry, brother. Who is looking after the little man who don't understand? It's like me going the streets and starting. Mr. Stayawa get two sack I am, I give you a 5 grand quietly, go and buy some block. But you'd never find a government person going there and say, listen, you guys are really doing extremely well. We now get X start, you know.
Yes.
Let's see how we can help. You know. That is my problem. You have people on the ground who are doing things more. The everyday people who don't even earn a sensible wage packet, but they're going in. I might have remittance coming in. I mean, can say, all right, I can save one extra 10 grand a month, and we can give an extra 10 grand. That's how it really works in Jamaica, which is very, very sad.
I think one of the things which is needed as much as possible, Alex is alluding to that, is the way forward, the solution. And David, I still don't want to miss that point about St. Thomas as to what St. Thomas is like now to then. To now. Oneil, go ahead.
I want to make in terms of the registration, I'm just going to go pretty small. Every community in Jamaica has a church. Every pastor knows who the farmers are in those communities. They know who is doing what. They know who have what plot of land. So if you really want to go touch those folks, you could use the church. And I mentioned David before. Jamaica has more church per square mile than else in the world. So you could get to those people, right? So the question becomes, and I use my grandfather as an example, because back in the day, the coffee board, the banana board, they used to set prices that the farmers get, right? So if you're buying a pound of coffee or whatever it is, you have to pay X. Somehow over the years, for whatever reason, that has changed. So there was a fair trade that each person get. Now, every person, David, you might have some coffee, you might get $2, and because of who I'm dealing with from a broker's perspective, gave me maybe 3, less I get 5, right? We need to figure out how to change that to say, look, we're going to give you a floor, right, for coffee. And guess what? Coffee's traded, right? You know, all of these are traded on the Chicago index. So you could see what the price is. How do we ensure? And that's where we have to push policy to say, hey, if you're going to sell a coffee for $50, and in the US $80, the minimum a coffee farmer roast should get is $10, right? Yeah. Right.
At least 20% of whatever the selling price is. In other words, a percentage is always set. Which means that anything that a coffee farmer put out there, he would know exactly what he's getting back from his produce or from his hard labor. You're absolutely right, my brother.
And the other thing that we have to do, we have to teach our coffee farmer to roast the coffee, because when you buy the green, right, it's a different price than when you buy the roasted one. So these mean that
the packaging is one set.
Exactly. So those are things that we could do. But I do believe you could find the farmers, work with the JPs, work with the pastors, because every community have a JP, every community have a pastor.
Let me cut you. You know what? You know why that? You know why that? No, other that. There's no politics in that, and it's every move like that have to have the politics, because guess what? No, and we have to understand the reality of Jamaica. We have tribe, PMP and GLP.
Yeah.
There's only 2 other tribes that rattle and rival JLP and PMP was Gully and Gaza, and then get rid of one of them. One of them live in Florida now, and the other one live on a long vacation in our confined resort.
Somewhere.
Netherlands.
Right? No, but a serious thing. No, listen to me.
Yeah.
And as I said, when you know whom you support, I'm going to take big on board every day. Show up.
Fair enough. I agree with on that.
But if the politics not in it, because listen, imagine, let's take Floyd Green, for example. If he goes into a community, right, and say he's serving, like the good Oneil suggestion to the church. Suppose more church in the PMP side of the constituency. What do you think is going to happen to the Labour side who support Floyd Green?
Yeah, but my brother.
No. Hold on. It is not the right approach. But politicians.
I have experience that, When I came home, I experienced that big time up to this day. Continue talking. Sorry.
If the politics not unite, it's not going to be done. As I said about the energy plan, right? The energy plan will come at Jamaica. some politician wasn't going to benefit, or not going to benefit in the way that he wants it to, so it gets scrapped. And we have seen that time and time again in Jamaica. So all we are talking, we are saying, boy, if we do this and implement this, it's not so easy because the politics. Look for the things that is.
Let's I want David to speak. Yeah.
Hold on.
No. Continue, Lester. You're right. Continue.
A Labour right MP, right?
Are you being honest? I love that.
A Labour MP cannot go into another Labour MP and do anything charitable without the approval. Not blessings, you know. Without the approval, no matter how good the gesture is, to another Labour MP constituency, cannot a problem.
All right, stick up in.
And both of them under the same party.
Stick up in. All right, Silburn, you know my journey.
Yeah.
Voicing for Jamaica, A Taste of Our Culture, Paradise Gold, my travel agency, Ben TV, big up Ben TV, who supported a lot of us in the UK.
Yeah.
Right, my brothers, I got a couple of awards. BEMA Award, Jamaica Travel Specialist Award, Youth for Human Rights, and Peace Ambassadorship Award. And I deliberately left Britain when I got all those awards to come home to support Jamaica with my own money. I'm not going to name the minister, but tourism. Yeah, and a few.
What year? You don't need to know the year. What year? No, what year? I'm asking. What year? You want to listen? That trouble now. Listen. Call the years back.
No, listen. We can't call him name. Right? But anyway, one of them tell me, say, David Chen, you're flagging a dead horse with St. Thomas. And I still went and I built a beautiful place like a beach house. I went to the parish council recently on another project. And the parish council said, well, we're not getting involved with them thing then. But you said, when I first went to it, it was a partisan thing because I thought that I was PNP. Or they said that I am PNP. So they now support what I'm doing. I'm telling you straight. May I be honest with you? And the thing is, it is so hard because you come home to support. St. Thomas is the sleeping giant of Jamaica. St. Thomas right now is one of the best parish, my brother. Honestly speaking, you see where the Borden Wharf is? You know the Borden Wharf? You see the Borden Wharf is? You see, if full government have sense, my brother, we don't need football no ganja.
Yeah.
When the package ganja like how the whole of the world are open ganja store, make everybody come to Jamaica. Everybody come to Jamaica and call it ganja tourism.
And then can be like drive the Kota Kobe too.
My brother, listen man, Mr. Woman, that's what I like come from Silburn team because I got passionate. I mean, I want to cry for big man.
Why go passionate?
But David,
yes, my brother.
So St. Thomas, and I don't know if TOJ owned that level 5 data center where all the dark fiber come into the country. It's right in St. Thomas, right there, right?
Yeah. Right at Prospect.
Yes,
yeah,
right
at Prospect.
But what
me can stay at my house and I stay at my house and saw the cruise ship coming in, my brother. Right. See that? Up here, listen. Anyone there? Up here, water. The water there. I love water.
So Lester, what I'm saying is that because all of the dark fiber come in, to the point that David is saying, you could do so much in St. Thomas, right?
Exactly.
Because the infrastructure, you just have to build it up. And here's the issue with the cannabis, and I wish the Jamaican government would be a little bit more bolder. They're scared of the US. They're scared of the US, and that's why they haven't gone further. Because for years, the US has put sort of their foot on their neck and said, if you legalize marijuana, then we're going to have an issue. And every subsequent administration hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
So now the question becomes, to me, it's people like yourself, David, and others that is going to have to care. Because at the end of the day, it's politics. There's a lot of politics in there. It's to Lester's point, it doesn't benefit me or my party, so I'm not going to do it, right? And we have to figure out how to move and navigate that system. It's hard, but we have to figure, because for Jamaica to get to the next level, we have to do that. And we have to be vocal about it. It's going to be rough and tumble, but if we collectively say, where do we want to make impact, is pushing the government out of the way and let citizens like yourself who want to make a difference do those things. Because if not, it's a cycle.
David,
We're gonna
David,
keep on going over and over
David,
and over
is
again.
it-
Yes,
David, I
there's
have
a
a question.
cycle. Yeah.
I have a question
Is
for you,
it,
David.
is it,
Which side?
Yes, sir.
Which side are you? You're on James' side or Charles' side?
Charles side. I'm on the Portman side. I'll tell you straight, I'm on the Portman side.
Do you know Councilor McLeod?
McLeod, no, I don't know.
All right. After here, make a link after here, and you know.
all right.
No problem. That's
Okay.
no problem.
So can I just bring in a point here now, David and guys, in regards to solution bit? Is it that Jamaica government is so much intrinsically a part of every fabric that their knees are on the neck of the Jamaican people when people want to progress?
The issue with the Jamaican government over the years, as Lester said earlier, is that, and well, all of us always repeat the same thing. And we don't want to say licky, but it's a licky situation. Because I'm gonna do a layman's term, because everybody are watching right now. Yeah, and we need to walk away or run away from the get rich mentality and work on infrastructure and work on ways of how we can develop properly. Packaging, brand Jamaica, branding. That's all we need.
Yes.
Jamaica don't need much, you know. We need to look at Singapore again. Remember, Singapore come model off for we, you know.
Initially,
I'm repeating that.
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the thing is, with Jamaica right now, Jamaica recently accept every and anything into the country. And over the years, Jamaica have been one of the places whereby if nothing can sell unless Jamaica get it first.
David, it's unfair to draw the comparison of Singapore because Jamaican people are not willing to go through or do what Lee Kuan Yew had done to Singapore to bring Singapore where it is. So
fair enough.
That's leadership. That's leadership.
Exactly.
That's leadership.
And it started from the 60s, right?
Yeah.
It started
No.
What I mean is that we from the 50s into the 60s, we have spoiled the Jamaican people in how we practice politics or how we administer politics. And it not changed at the same way we are doing it. But let me tell you something. If it's a certain interest corporate groups get certain things, it's because them unite, it's a conglomerate of them. David, if you had several other businessmen who were with you, who were doing certain things, right? They may come talk to you because guess what? They might look on 5 years down the line, they will come talk to David because David and his crew can give you $10 million or $100 million. Is you one? You know, I hear them say them brand as PMP. Them don't know if you have PMP or not, you know. But
Yeah.
brand as
They
PMP.
don't know, but they just they just brand a certain way.
You know,
So that's one of the way how we have it then we call it conglomerize.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
so
To get things to get the ball moving.
I don't want to miss this point here. I want to keep persons who are speaking a part of the whole thing. Hot Girl said something. Jamaica allowed too much and every and anything in our country. Stick a pin on that point.
Yeah, we're too licky.
Yeah, stick a pin on that point. But go on to I'm Curate. He said it's the people not holding the heads accountable. Now I'm going to bring in something and juxtapose something right there. Floyd Green recently was caught with his pants down. Okay, figuratively speaking. And
You gotta get that right.
One honor, and the Prime Minister released him from his position. And now the people of Jamaica is signing a petition for him to come back into office right away. They're saying he's a good guy. He apologized. You know? Whoa.
Hold on. I'm to that. And then the Prime Minister now saying that he's gonna give him a better job.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, is that what he said, my brother? Please answer that.
Hold on.
Hold on. The honorable.
Yes or no? Hold on.
Listen. In the UK, no. Stop for a second. In the UK, when I'm in House of Commons and I walk down there, you see David Cameron walk past, you see Tony Blair walk past, you see MPs walk past, and we just call them by their first name. It's no big deal. Jamaica, I believe, put so much aura upon MPs and these guys.
So
Come on, man.
I want to make a couple of points.
Yeah.
we talk about the tribalness of Jamaica. In the 70s, 80s, we divided Jamaica into tribes, right? In 80s, in the 70s, either you're a People's National Party or Jamaica Labour Party tribe. And if your mother was your grandmother, it doesn't matter, you still go vote for that. So we create this tribal society. But we also create this mindset that politics was about making money. I have friends that says, I am going into politics to make money, not to serve the people. So now when you look at who owns a lot of the things, who owns the same politician, right? So you're in the business, you're competing with you and I, or David, to get the spoils. So you're not willing to give that spoils up, right? So you divide the people, right?
Yeah.
And you divide the people in such a way that it's one tribe versus the other tribe, while the folks at the top keep rising, right? And they let the folks at the bottom keep fighting, right? So Jamaica itself, it's a leadership issue, right? If you look to the point I think Lester was making, you, David, if there comes a prime minister who decide to do things that benefit all Jamaica, right? Possibly he's going to lose the next election because
possibly going to lose his life.
Right, he didn't take care of his side of the thing. And the thing that we need to figure out, right, is how do we get the next generation to start hold our politician accountable? That's
education.
If we don't hold them accountable, I know politicians, for example, who went somewhere when they got elected, and 4 years later, when they're running, they come back. Right? And that's the issue we're having in Jamaica.
It's difficult
that's why we can't move forward.
It's difficult to do that now. The politician can't do that now. But hold on. Let me say
no. You still answer the question. Is Green getting a higher position? Yes or no?
Prime Minister said that he has a greater role to play in the parliamentary process. That's what he said. I don't know what specific job he's going to give you.
He's going to be the ambassador for Siberia.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised.
But hold on. I don't understand when Silver say he got caught with his pants down.
Figuratively.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't understand.
Okay. I'll explain. No. Listen. No. Listen to me. You asked me. You don't understand, so I'll explain. Layman to layman.
Okay, explain, Silver.
Right. Listen. The government of the country set down a rule, said it's a lockdown day. Okay? People should not congregate and people should chill and stay home because COVID has spread. All right?
Yes.
Now, what happened is a situation whereby the minister was seen on camera with a bunch of other people. And what was it? It wasn't just about them actually having a good time. It was about cheers to no walk up, no lockdown there or something like that. It was like a slap in the face of Jamaicans. Jamaicans are at this point here, and listen, we're not on a party business right now. I'm a Jamaican straight out of Ochi now. Listen to me. Let's listen to my boss.
Port Maria, let me just.
Port Maria, I'm in a business where I say, right? And it's a serious thing, and it's a very serious thing because I had to make a video because when I saw it, and when we are only talking, we've been talking about how people in Jamaica are feeling it, how people are actually not able to work, how people are actually stopped, not by their decree, but by the decree of the government. I understand COVID is around, and I understand we had it over here, we were in lockdown. This is where I do most of my work, going to court, sitting right here on the sofa upstairs because we're able to work on the sofa, working from home. But it didn't look well. I know we can sort of get into the intricacies and say, hey, he was at a hotel, they were close together, and it was outside. It doesn't look well. There's a thing called perception. Perception is powerful sometimes than even fact.
But Silborn, it goes back to the.
No, but I want to respond.
No, it goes back to accountability. Is rules for
lockdown celebration.
Lockdown celebration.
So here's the thing. It's the same thing we see here in the U.S. where there are rules, wear your mask, and there are politicians you see not following their own decree, if you call it that, right? So to me, it goes back to we're not holding our folks accountable. There's a certain expectation to say, okay, it's for those people, not for me. So I could go to wherever
make the rules operate them. Managers make the rules operate them.
Exactly. So that's where the leadership and accountability comes in. And to me, if I were in the prime minister's shoes, I said, hey, we're going to remove you from the minister, stay low for the next 18 months.
Exactly.
We can't have double standards. We cannot. Because you lose trust in the people if you do that.
Can I respond now?
Go
Yes,
on,
man, go ahead.
go on, boss.
Okay. No,
Sorry, are you sure? Sorry.
No. David, listen, David, are you boss man? Remember you boss man?
I have to set Mr. Portmaria straight, right? Now, the fact is, these people, all of them work in government. By the nature of their job, they're all exempt from no movement and all exempt from the curfew hours. By the nature of them, yes, that's a fact. Only no, I fact you attack now, right? The nature of them jobs.
So why did he get shot then?
Hold on. I'm explaining.
Let me explain.
They all have special IDs, all of them. Counselors, managers,
so they're
permanent secretaries, because of the nature of their jobs, right? All right. No, they were at the hotel, our hotel, or whatever it was named, from Saturday. They didn't go there the Monday. Because this happened on the Monday, right? The party. They were at the hotel from the Saturday. It was the birthday celebration of Gabby, right? Also working in a ministry, right? No, the Prime Minister fired Mr. Green based on his utterances and not the gathering, because the gathering is not illegal.
Did you hear what I said? That's what I said.
No. I know. Hold on. Listen. When I got the video, because I got the video from a very high source, and the first thing I said when I watched the video, he must be fired. I can screenshot that, show you.
Okay.
Right? Silver, you notice that I've not said anything about public Silver.
Yeah.
Because Floyd Bridging, love him, good MP, good minister, but Andrew should take a big board and lick it at him. You cannot be doing these things because it is a slap in the face.
It's true. It's a disrespect.
So you call to this pants down then?
To the protocol, I don't know about this pants down, sir.
Figuratively.
No,
Silver, stop with the man.
I don't. Poor man, I'm gonna.
A Portmaria thing that.
No, but what I'm saying is that the stupid petition that is going about, I disagree with it wholeheartedly.
Definitely. It should never be accepted.
I'm going to tell the whole of my minister bridging them, I'm going to support it. Don't send it to me. It's stupid. Right? Because what you're then saying is that there's a we and them.
There is a them. Yes.
Thank you.
You cannot have that. Right?
You should get that struck immediately. The Prime Minister should never accept that. Even once he see that, he should take it down completely. That's a disrespect to him.
People them who me say push it, but tell them straight up. But people who me say push it. I'm not calling them name. But you're not calling them. It's on a mud, and it's very sickening and it's sad.
Yes.
Right?
So Natural Beauty actually makes a great point, and you make the point, Lester, that they have pass because they work for the government. So they're taking advantage of the pass, right? Because most people, I know a lot of people that has pass, but they go right home after they finish their work, right? So the fact that you're at a hotel party.
No, it is not. No. Hold on. No, but it's not. No.
Hold on, Lester.
You're not taking advantage of the fact. No,
Lester, let me finish. You said there were a birthday party celebration. To
on
me,
Monday.
That's bad judgment. Even on Tuesday, it's bad judgment. There are people who are locked down in their house, don't have food, don't have anything. And you could go and do whatever you want, but it's bad judgment.
But also, guys, let me just ask one question. Let me just ask one question. Also, you know how hotels are, you have to make reservation, right? You have to make reservation. So what I'd also like to know, based on the research, who was booked in from the night of that Saturday.
To the
And
one.
anybody else who came in after the Saturday, then that's where the issue comes in. In other words, all the guest bookings.
But another point, another point as well is this. Another point as well is this. When lockdown is starting, if people were partying the night before, did they continue straight into the lockdown period, or they stopped?
But Silver,
Well, they can do Silver. But my question is, who was booked in the property, the hotel before the lockdown, and anybody else who came in? How did you get there when it was on? When the country was on a lockdown?
You know, make them ban my passport from come to Jamaica enough. So when I answer the question there. I know the answer, but we don't see it. We know the answer, but we can't see.
Well, cheers, guys.
Cheers. This is a good discussion.
Silver, we love the research, you know.
Yeah,
I'm saying to Silver, we love the research.
David, you know, David. Silver, if you get David, we know, but here we do even talk.
Yeah, man, tell me now, man. I love to talk to everybody.
So we link the number, guys.
But look, okay, we have to understand something, that a lot of the permanent secretaries, the managers, the executives, persons in special, the prime minister's cameraman was also at that functioning.
So COVID sort of ignore those people and sort of leave them alone.
What I'm saying, the nature of their job,
Of the activity.
No.
COVID don't touch it.
Hold on, no. This one I'm trying to finish my statement, right? The nature of their job allows them to move after curfew or within no movement times, right?
And also the nature of them to allow them to go party.
No. People who get locked up recently, I get reprimanded or charged recently when they first start.
Yes, Kari Douglas.
Something like that, yeah.
You know, hey, Virgin, you love call people name it up, Gazi. You need to hold off calling people name it up.
It's public. No, hold on. No, be clarified. Kari Douglas is a Jamaica Labour Party council.
I don't know any. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
No, I'm telling you, what she did not have the pass, and she said to the police in question, right? You can call my superior. You can call the inspector in charge of the division. He knows these things. The policeman said him nah call nobody. I'm lock her. But they had a quarrel and him lock her up.
The last time I have a show one time, immigration advisory, immigration investigators in the UK asked for a copy of my tape. You know, we don't want nobody to ask for a copy of my tape today. All right.
All right, Silver.
We send them straight to your Gaza.
Yes, Silver, this is good. I have to run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Well, listen, guys. It was a great show, fantastic show. What I'm gonna say is that, without a doubt, we got all the issues that we're going around in circles in some respect. But David, we have to find some serious solution. We have to find some ways of the tail to wag the dog. You know what I mean, in Jamaica, because we can't keep going on like this in circles. The government needs on the people in the neck. You know what I'm saying?
The thing is, as we said earlier, it's about communication, collective, facts, and a way of how, as we always said, Silver, we need to learn how we can work together to make Jamaica better.
Yes.
And
that
I
is
think
all we need, my brother. And
totally agree.
PNP, I love you.
Yes.
There you go.
Because we are all Jamaicans, my brother. No disrespect. JLP, my man, Shiva. JLP and PNP, I love you. The churches, I love you. Rasta, I love you. Muslim, I love you.
Yes.
If we are Jamaican, the whole of we are one nation, man.
Yes.
The whole world.
You know, poor people.
Listen, we don't care what business on. The whole world love Jamaicans, but we don't love ourselves, Papa.
All right.
And I tell you, in that suburb, there are things that, David, that we are start doing. So for in sort of the show, we are starting some partnership in Jamaica. We have actually started. Next week we'll give more details, and we're gonna start that so we can help people on the ground.
Yes.
And if folks are willing to chip in, we'll do that. But right now, Silver and I in the Talking Ship show, we're gonna start helping some people in Jamaica.
And somebody on YouTube said,
pass my number, Silver.
yeah, somebody on YouTube said the minister is going to be appointed as a mixologist.
But listen now, quickly
Yeah.
before we go, my brothers. Touching on tourism in St. Thomas, the eastern part, now the roads, when I left, the roads were actually being developed. I'm not going to be negative.
Yes.
It is taking some time. And cost the government taking some time. And based on the knowledge of engineering, it is not being done the best way possible. It could have been done a lot better. I think the government in power right now, because of with this JP and PNP, need to put some serious look into the engineering fact on the roads. This is not being done properly inside the areas.
Isn't it check the contractor?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honey, you got to go, yeah?
Yeah.
See you later,
Yeah.
honey. All right. Good
All
night.
right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, my brother. Respect.
Yeah.
All right.
Take care. Yeah. Yeah, you're finishing up, David, yeah, on that point. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So on that point, it will get better, but I mean, with this lockdown thing, of course, it is crippling many people right now. This caused a major factor. So you look at that JP and PNP, the online now. Yeah, my brothers. Yeah, man.
So,
It's a good discussion.
yes, David. Anyhow, you take care, and you up Nicki Minaj when they over there. Till I say Rebecca, you know what I mean? All the way. You know.
Rebecca, my name is
You're a married man, sir.
Hey, that's
Put his pants down,
hold on.
man.
That's the thing about Jamaica, you know. Boy, you can't say, you have to just watch every single word.
It's not the same, not the word.
Okay,
I get myself in trouble the other day because I make certain comment and the American woman don't really understand
listen.
how we talk. So
Listen,
I get myself in trouble.
Listen, there's a talk, a discussion that I had while I was in the park, and I was walking and talking about the tree. Yeah, there was a tree there flourishing, and then there was another tree.
Banana tree, because them say we're planting tree, you know.
Hold on,
Banana plant tree.
man. And then another tree was leaning on it. Now you that thing say a two.
Beat it, and it say.
Hold on, man. You that thing say a two tree. You know?
Yeah.
Guess what? The other tree was a dead wood.
You see?
You
So that's
see?
the measure the planting.
You see it? And guess what? Guess what the topic is? My topic was dead wood. And somebody said to me, "You can't say that, Mr. But it's all over in the discussion."
Nature.
No.
So you talk about yourself.
It's a
So
old,
once I go to the tree, so hold on, which tree is that? The live tree or the dead tree?
Papa tree.
They have skills so that know that silver.
Hold on, how you know that?
I work in pharmaceuticals, sir.
Okay.
Okay, working
Well,
pharmaceutical.
no,
Working pharmaceutical.
No push on the herbs to that.
No, remember, David, remember, he's a shower man. So shower people work in the pharmaceuticals for years. Remember in the New York,
Okay.
in the 80s?
Yeah. Okay, we're not gonna. Yo, Brendan.
Who know the reference?
No. Oh boy, it's been very energetic. Good. But listen, my brothers, I just hope that we get rid of this partisan thing, man. I hope that we work together and
Yes.
build Jamaica, brother. We can do it, you know. And those Silver, you need to share the show them all the way through because we need to do better.
Well, see,
Who's this? Who's beautiful lady? This Silver?
Wait.
What should I eat?
what shade?
Wait. Is that pineapple?
Breadfruit?
Breadfruit.
Fried breadfruit.
Oh my
I thought
days.
you're eating pineapple, you know. It's weekend.
No. Fried breadfruit.
Fried breadfruit and with the ackee.
No, so selfish.
I guess you're gonna say you don't need any ackee. You're the ackee. Is that what you're gonna say to them?
No, I'm allergic to acne. Seriously.
David,
How are
that
you
is
guys?
David. That's Jody, David. You met
Hi,
her.
David. I think we met some time ago. How are you?
We did? I'm great, Jody. Good to see you.
Okay. No, I'm hungry. You see, they're always cussing me up about me being in my car.
Are you in your
Yeah.
car?
And that's it's my safe space. I'm still working.
You're living in your car.
I'm at
Nothing
the-
wrong with that.
Well, the thing is, a lot of millionaires lived in their cars for a while.
Well,
So,
I live on the road. I live on an airplane. I never know where I live.
I
I was on the road. I'm at the assisted living waiting for an electrician so I can leave again. So, but in order to listen to this peacefully, I have to come into my car. So they brought my food to me.
Okay, so how has it been so far? You like the show so far?
Yes, so far it's been good.
Yeah,
There are a lot of stuff that I wanted to mention.
say
But,
say two of them. My battery still line, and Gaza never run out the battery. And let JPS.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to go back to two things that were discussed earlier. One about the lack of resources for farmers. I'm going to speak directly to that because it's passionate to me. I don't think it's a lack of resources for farmers or support for farmers. What I think is lacking is the education.
Sorry, if you see me, if you see my mouth moving, I'm just saying bye to people on YouTube. Okay, I'm just keep talking here.
Okay, is the lack of information and education and
Herbert,
integration
guys,
for the farmers, right?
Sure.
I'm just finishing off
What
the
kind of
YouTube.
story that if Jody can eat, you can't eat too?
Yes.
Drink some lemonade, yeah, man.
All right, so I'm gonna say bye bye now on
people
YouTube.
under the-
Okay?
All right.
Peace out. Bye bye.
Lemonade.